Silent scan. Silent scan.
Defiance.
Bants and Bants.
You can't control us.
Bants and
A frightening dystopia.
Bants and Bants.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes.
Bants and
An alternate reality. We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Bombs and Bants with John, Mark, and the Missus. I'm John, and with me, as always, is Mark.
Hello.
And the Missus.
Are you actually going to let me talk this week? You know, I edit this, so if you don't say anything, it doesn't matter, because I'll just cut it out.
Yeah, and what you'll do is you'll just put something of me being rude in the middle anyway, right?
Target-rich environment.
Yep.
Ow! Holy honey, why would you do that?
I forgot.
God.
So I patted her on her knee, the one that she hit a tree with while she was riding a three-wheeler this weekend.
Oh, Jesus.
And that then caused the dog, her brother's dog, to run straight into a heavy clay chimenea, which it proceeded to crack open with its skull. And yeah, it all happened at once. And so she was just sad that she missed watching the dog hit the chimenea with its skull. I mean, the dog's fine because it's
a dog.
Yeah, and it's got a lot more bone than brain in that particular case. But
Well, he did once jump over a landing of a marble staircase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we have a special guest tonight, T-Bone.
Hey, guys.
We'll cover 3 stories on this week's episode. Up first, the Missus tackles My Modern Mets article about Carl Sturmer, who took hidden photos of hot chicks in Oslo. Then I'll cover Via American Mind, an article by Angela Codevilla, Scamocracy in America. And Mark will cover the story, and a famine is looming over the United States. Make sure you keep the kids up for that one.
Ooh.
Of course, our sponsor tonight is Patriot Flakes, the cereal that's red, white, and made by a multinational corporation. Plus, we'll have an episode of Jeopardy starring Joe Biden. Up first, the Missus.
Okay, from My Modern Met. Oh my
Young
God.
student secretly photographs people with hidden spy cam in the 1890s.
So flip back through your old family photo albums, you know, the ones that have actual real photos in them, until you get to the black and white ones. Go a little bit farther back than that, and you'll notice how all of the candid pictures just sort of disappear, to where you only see people who are either standing or seated in their Sunday best, posed very stiffly for the camera. Those pictures, although they are priceless, don't tell us very much about how those people looked in their day-to-day lives. But thanks to the work of a Norwegian student / budding stalker, and future physicist, we now have some very nice candids of people in Oslo in the late 1800s.
I want to hear you say his name because you've been learning Norwegian. So would you pronounce that?
Carl Stormer.
Stormer.
He's not German.
So the O with the E with the slash through it is just an O?
Mostly, yeah.
Then why do they have this special slash?
Because the regular O makes a different sound.
Okay. Should I call him?
It's not Sturmer because he's not German.
Okay. Shall we call him Carl von Stormer?
Well, what are you insinuating? That he's a Nazi, asshole. No, he's not. Carl Stormer was not a Nazi. That I know of. Don't write me letters.
Would have been cool if he was.
All right.
Demonetized.
And our trend to get kicked off of YouTube continues. So yes, Carl Stormer was a young man who was studying mathematics at the time at Oslo University, and he fell in love. Unfortunately, he was also very, very painfully shy and was really just unable to work up the courage to talk to this woman that he had fallen in love with. So he decided that a picture of her would have to do. But he'd have to take it without her knowledge, hence the beginnings of stalking laws in Norway.
Oh my
Apparently so.
God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he purchased a little tiny camera with a lens that would fit through his buttonhole and started taking pictures of people on the streets of Norway. And we'll assume he had a lot of pictures of that woman. Yeah.
Not that that's a creepy hobby.
No. But we did get some really cool pictures out of it.
So one of the things I noticed about this article
Yeah.
is the link that you sent me. My opinion is the wrong link. They link to Board Panda, and Board Panda has 156 of Karl von Sturmer's pictures.
Okay. I didn't really get that far.
Yeah, 156, and some of them they're really cool and better than that first article.
Well, if you told me that, I would have used that article instead of this one.
Thanks. Then I wouldn't have been able to do this one.
Then you wouldn't have been able to be all smug
and give you the comeuppance that you deserve.
Yeah.
But I do have a Norway joke. Anybody want to hear a Norway joke? Because he was Norwegian.
It's not Finnish.
It's not Finnish. This is Norwegian. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Norway.
Norway who?
Norway in hell. Epstein killed himself.
That's a little on the ripe side as jokes go.
Okay. Well, okay. Know what
would have made it better if you could have worked Paris Hilton in there somehow.
Ooh, you make it very topical. Well, but the one of the things I noticed was that Karl Stormer was a pioneer in photography, which makes sense because he was a Norwegian, and it was also the Norwegians were the first people. This is a little known fact: the first people to have ever X-rayed a bird. They Scandinavian. But seriously, the Scandinavian countries are often competing. There's one way that Norway beats Denmark. Norway has better neighbors. If you were from Denmark, you'd be smiling right now.
Oh, okay.
Well, I have to say, one of the things I was impressed with was how dressed up everyone was, just in their everyday clothes. Also, how immaculate the streets appeared to be.
Oslo was beautiful in those photos. Just absolutely stunning.
Could you imagine going back in time and giving any of those people a pair of sweatpants and some sneakers?
Yeah, some yoga pants.
Yeah.
And a
nice hoodie that's 3 times too big.
Yeah.
We would have ruined Norwegian society forever.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Didn't we do that?
I think maybe we have. We just got around to it sooner.
Well, and if all their health trends follow ours, there's a good thing about Norway. As far as insurance, they do have Blue Cross. And now, word from tonight's sponsor, Patriot Flakes, the cereal that's red, white, and made by a multinational corporation.
Hey, Mom, what's for breakfast?
Patriot Flakes, the newest cereal from General Foods. General Foods, spelled with a Z.
That sounds great. What does it taste like?
Why don't you try a bite and find out?
Well, gosh, Mom, it tastes like freedom.
No, Timmy, that's just your Adderall.
Well, then, I guess it tastes like duty?
No, the FDA says you shouldn't be able to taste that.
No, Mom, duty, like duty to God?
That's just the 97 grams of high fructose corn syrup per bite.
Well, then, it tastes like honor.
No, that's just the milk. It's been in the fridge a bit too long. Plus maybe the added estrogen.
Well, I guess it tastes like, anything?
That's right, Timmy. At Patriot Flakes from General Foods, freedom is whatever the government and big corporations want to tell you it is. And I'm glad you figured it out.
And cool, there's a free anti-COVID mask in every box.
Only for good little vaccinated boys. Try new Patriot Flakes for the red, white, and you, a product of Slapcop Industries. Look for it on the breakfast aisle of your favorite food store.
Who knew how much love a Chinese manufacturing facility could put into a completely American cereal?
After 2020, I think a lot of us have a pretty good idea of that one.
Oh, that's a bat joke.
Still working to get kicked off of YouTube.
No, that's now the accepted narrative.
Oh, it's fine now.
No, it's not. No, you would be kicked off of YouTube if you said it wasn't.
Okay. You got it.
Our second story, which will inspire an epic level rant, a volcanic level rant from me, via AmericanMind.org, an article by Angelo Codavilla. That's the way I imagined his mom said it because he's Italian, called Scamocracy in America.
But it was probably a little bit more like this because she was a woman.
That's okay to make fun of Italians, just making sure.
Well, yes, we're not making fun of transgendered. We're making fun of Italians.
You say that now, but wait till the mafia comes after you.
The reason I chose this article is because I've seen Dr. Codavilla's name again and again and again in the blogs I go to, but I've never really clicked on any of the links. So tonight I picked this one just purely based on his name. and the fact that so many people have linked to him. And I was intrigued by what he'd have to say. And I have to say, based on this one article, this is just one data point, the man couldn't write his way out of a paper bag. His prose is littered with academia trash, cluttered, and he's unable to string clear sentences together. He has, in the first 2 paragraphs, a 32-word sentence. There are 52 words in the preamble to the Constitution. If you're going to string that many together, you have to make it pay off, and he didn't. He then follows that up by asking his readers 7 questions in a row. 7 questions about different topics. What are we talking about? Is it a flash forward? Is it a flash sideways? Was there a flash forward in the middle of the flash sideways? It's awful writing. It's horrible. Let me say this clearly, Angelo. I will help you edit your stuff. You have some good ideas, being 75 and all. But when it gets to the main idea of the piece, at least I think it was the main idea, he thinks that both the Washington Democrats and the Washington Republicans are scamming everyone. Well, that's not particularly news to the 80% of Americans who wanted illegal immigration stopped. And then the Democrats and Republicans said, no, we need more to have come on in. Let's keep that Taco Bell slogan of run for the border alive. But here's an example from his ending paragraph. At its core, the ruling class politics of COVID-19 is now no more about public health than the environmentalism is about the environment, or feminism is about doing good to women, or BLM is about saving Black lives, or the education establishment is about cognition, or the national security establishment is about public safety. Do I agree? Yes. Could he have said it more clearly than with a 54-word sentence? Maybe.
Did he ever answer any of those?
Not really.
Okay.
I agree with most of what Angelo said, even though it sounds like he dictated an angry memo into a tape recorder after a second snifter of brandy. But good heavens, man, get an editor. I feel like Andy Rooney.
He actually may have done what you just said, because this has got to be the shortest article I've ever read by him.
I'm sorry. I'm coming down emotionally.
Yeah, but you're a little like those tools on the internet who read a book and go, "You're supposed to show, not tell."
Well, I'll take that criticism too.
All right.
I will. But in order for ideas to go from one person to the next, they have to be effectively communicated. And I just don't think this was well written. And yes, I know I've written some stinkers myself, but based on one data point sample, I'm not going back.
Oh, you should.
You're saying there's some good stuff there, Mark, that I missed?
I'm just saying that some of his other articles are, although they're lengthier, he does raise some really good ideas, especially as to the regard on how as he terms it, bipartisan ruling class is united by basically their own culture that comes about through their access to the Ivy Leagues.
Yeah, and the Ivy Leagues have been captured by, what I call the left a long time ago.
Well, yeah, and that's his whole point. I mean, even if you're talking about someone who's nominally Republican, if they're part of that class, there's no real difference. They all imbibe the same culture, the same values, same outlook,
and they're all in the same club, and we're not invited.
It's what I like to call the Bacon Wrapped Shrimp Club.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the people who go to parties with other important people. You can hear the capital letters in that. And they eat their bacon wrapped shrimp and discuss what is to be done about the stupid unwashed masses. And I don't use the word deplorables here, because that's come to mean only those of us who are on the right. When the members of the Bacon Wrapped Shrimp Club talk about the unwashed masses, they mean all of us who aren't them. Those who need to shut up and eat their cicadas and drink their cockroach milk, and that includes the lefties too. But the funny thing about it is, like a history full of lefties, the lefties don't think it includes them. All the communists and socialists think they'll always be the ones in charge. When they find out they aren't, then they turn to those on the right to save them again and again.
Mm-hmm. You will live in the pod, you will eat the bugs.
Yep.
On the other hand, maybe the vaccine will call all of them.
Oh, now who's trying to get us kicked off the internet? We know that the vaccine is literally the most healthful thing ever, even though I just read that getting the actual Rona might give you a long-term immunity.
Who'd have thunk?
Who'd have thought?
Weird.
Who'd have thought that?
No, you have to get the jab. It's perfectly safe. All the PSAs paid for by our tax money say so.
And
yeah, here in this other Midwestern state, they're having radio PSAs from NASCAR drivers saying, "Hey guys, I totally know everything about medicine. You should take the vaccine because it's safe and effective." And I am like, what are you talking about? You drive cars for a living. You don't know anything about immunology.
My favorite one I've heard is it's a female voice that says, well, if you have friends who say they aren't going to take this, then you just have to tell them that they need to get good information from reliable sources. Would that be the government, Mr. PSA?
See, I would prefer if it were Rosie Perez that did all those commercials. Can you imagine if it were Rosie Perez doing all those commercials?
That would be awesome.
The other one I've heard that really makes me angry is it's this pretentious sounding woman saying, do you want to know where you can meet other vaccinated people? It's at the grocery store. It's at family gatherings. It's at the baseball game. It's at the rock concert. You can only do this if you're vaccinated. Go get your COVID vaccine today.
See, and that's funny because the NASCAR driver one, that guy is playing here. But that one that you just talked about, I haven't heard.
What have you heard, Mark?
Actually, it's pretty muted around here in Idaho.
We
get the COVID
Mark,
vaccines are safe, very effective, and will soon be widely
number
available.
stations.
We can do this, Kansas. Get the facts at
7,
kansasvaccine.gov.
13,
Public service message from
21.
KPG.
John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache.
SRW Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, no, there's enough people here that don't want the vaccine that I think the ones that want to force it on everybody are a little bit are quiet. I mean, we get the ads on TV going, hey, you can take your children in now and have them jabbed. But
you guys out west, they don't know what makes you happy. You've got BLM and you also have the Freedmen. So who knows? Who can tell? And the Bundys. They've given up on you guys.
Both kinds
in the same state.
Remember, both kinds of Bundy. And now, welcome to another episode of Jeopardy, but spelled with a G, because we don't want to be sued. Starring Joe Biden as our prime contestant.
This is Jeopardy! Spelled with a G so we don't get sued. Now entering our studios, an all-around average guy, a nice guy from Delaware. Maybe he's from Scranton, we're not really sure, and honestly, he's not really sure either. Ladies and gentlemen, President Joe Biden.
Whoopee. Hooray. All right. Okay.
Also entering our studios, a former prosecuting attorney from California, currently a heartbeat away from the most powerful position in the world, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Whoopee. Hooray. All right.
Welcome to the show. Let's get started. You both know the rules. Buzz in if you know the answer. If the first contestant to buzz in gives an incorrect answer, the other contestant will have the chance to respond. And remember, you must phrase your response in the form of a question. Your category is politics for 100. The answer is, this person heads the executive branch in the U.S. federal government. Mr. President?
I don't know.
Ms. Vice President? Oh, I'm afraid the correct answer is the President. Your next category is popular songs for 500. The answer is, in the Three Dog Night song, Never Been to Spain, this state is where the singer was born. Mr. President?
But here's the deal. The ability to,
Madam Vice President?
And I haven't been to Europe.
No, I'm sorry. The correct answer is, what is Oklahoma? Please remember to phrase your answer in the form of a question.
Hey, Johnny, can we get some easier questions over here, please? Thank you.
Your next category is things any idiot should know for 1,000. The answer, when a man lifts weights, this is the result. Mr. President?
and so the bottom line is of the entire.
Ms. Vice President?
Strong men have become stronger.
That's right. Yes, strong men get stronger. You didn't phrase it as a question, but at least you got it right, so we'll give it to you.
And I don't understand the point that you're making.
You see, you have to ask.
I'm not finished.
I'm sorry. Please continue.
Oh. I did.
Okay. Anyway, now it's time for Final Jeopardy. Spell it with a G, remember? You may wager any amount, since it's taxpayer money anyway. The category is the White House. The answer: this is the name of President Biden's dog who died of natural causes. Let's see what you came up with. President Biden? Okay, and how much did you wager? Ooh, that'll take you down even further. Let's move to Vice President Kamala Harris. Ms. Vice President, you responded with, who is Jeffrey Epstein? No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. How much did you wager? Oh, the entire national treasury. That's too bad. Neither one of you walk away with any money, so you'll just have to keep being politician. Well, that's it for Jeopardy for this week. Remember, spell it with a G so we don't get sued.
Wow. Who'd have thought you could have gotten that negative in Final Jeopardy? And it was his dog's name. His dog's name.
He's definitely not getting a box of surprise for this one.
No new crayons this week.
As Mark noted, they're the same crayons every week.
Yeah.
They just tell him he's new. That was a good one, Mark.
Sharpen them with a pen knife and give them back to him.
Oh. Well, no, actually, they have to blunt them so he doesn't stick them in his eye. Mark, why don't you walk yourself into this next one?
All right. Well, now that we've addressed all the important things, we'll just go to something. It's trivial. Don't worry about it. It is from the Organic Prepper, and a famine is looming over the United States. And the reason we have a famine, California and the American Southwest are in the midst of a severe drought. Certain other parts of the country, including the Dakotas and part of Montana, are also in a drought. The reason this makes a difference is because California produces so much of our food, including the author indicates 1/3 of our vegetables and 2/3 of our fruits and nuts. And no, they're not talking about the inhabitants of San Francisco. Basically, what we're looking at is higher prices, especially for fresh produce. If you're making a decent amount of money, I don't know, I guess if there is such a thing as middle class anymore, if you're in the middle class, it may not be a big deal, but if you're down sort of scraping on the edge, that means you're going to be eating a lot more potatoes and noodles, spaghetti, etc., than healthy vegetables and fruits. Some farmers, it's so dry they're not even going to plant. It's estimated there's going to be a lot more wildfires this year. And then he moves from California to the Dakotas, and specifically North Dakota. He notes that cattle ranchers are seeing grazing lands die off because of no rain, which means no grass, which means nothing for these free-ranging cattle to eat. You should also expect then a further jump in beef prices, which are already jumped to astronomical sums over the last year or so. That's the warning. What to do about it? My suggestion would be is maybe look at trying your hand at gardening this year. Organic Prepper, I would note, has numerous articles on growing, even in urban environments. And there's tons of other resources out there. Even if you have nothing but your little patio out the back of your condo or apartment, you can find articles on the internet about vertical growing or vertical gardening, they call it.
Well, and the time to start gardening is before you need to start gardening, to learn how to grow.
Yeah.
I can kill them from a distance, but I'm really good at killing plants. The missus, I will say, is very good at killing plants, but only after she gets bored after they've grown.
Well, and my advice would be that you should grow things, like spinach and Brussels sprouts and broccoli, things people don't like, so they'll last longer.
There you go. When you talk about famine, it's something that has really not entered the American thought process since the 1930s. We've always lived in an absolute excess of calories in this country. I mean, we've been absolutely blessed by that. But I too worry that that's something that's coming. And it's just something people don't see out on the horizon.
The troublesome thing is we'll see prices rise. I don't think we'll see food shortages, at least this year, simply because we can import a lot of that. I mean, what grows in California also grows in Mexico or Argentina, and in fact, we get quite a bit of our fruits and vegetables from those areas.
Now, what scares me is when a leftist gets control. Because when communists play Red Rover, what's the result? Famine. I mean, technically, communism never killed any of their own citizens. It was called starvation. When you look at it, a committed government that lets individuals farm is going to produce a surplus of food. Look at Zimbabwe. Look at when it took over the lands from the farmers who knew how to farm. What happened? Starvation. The breadbasket of Africa became a net importer of food. Leftists talk, and they actually have a solution for this, and it's a viable solution, and it solves two problems at once: world hunger and overpopulation. One word: cannibalism. See, I brought it back to cannibalism. Well, on that note, we'll be back next week with another edition of Bombs and Bants, and thank you for listening. I'm John.
I'm Mark.
And I'm the missus.
Take care.
Y'all come back now, you hear?